Hey everyone, welcome back and let's write some more neat code today. So today let's solve the problem wiggle sort. And if you're wondering that this is kind of a different UI, you're right, this is not actually on Leetcode. Wiggle sort is problem 280 on Leetcode, but it's a premium problem. But there's a way to solve premium problems for free sometimes on other sites. And in this case, I'm using a site called Leetcode. I'm not endorsed by them or anything. It's just that, they do sometimes have free problems which are premium on Leetcode, so we're going to take advantage of that. I mean, Google pays me pretty well, but not well enough to afford Leetcode Premium, of course. So in this case, we're given an unsorted integer array, and we want to reorder it in place, basically such that these equalities hold. But let's simplify the understanding of this. What does this even tell us? Well, so suppose we have some first value. It could be anything. The next value is going to be greater than or equal to the previous value. Makes sense? The next value is going to be less than or equal to the previous value. The next value is going to be greater than or equal to the previous value. The next value is going to be less than or equal to the previous value, etc., etc. Basically, anytime we add a new value, it's going to be greater. It's going to alternate between being greater and then being less than, and then greater and then less than, and then greater, etc., etc. So it's just alternating. The restriction here is that we want to do it in place. So this is a pretty challenging problem, but there's a thought process that can make it really simple. The first thing you might be wondering is, so this order is kind of weird, but what if the input array was actually in sorted order instead of unsorted? Would that have made the problem easier? Definitely it would have, because suppose we were given values like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't care too much what the first value is, but we want the next value to be greater than or equal to this value. That's true in this case because it's in sorted order, but we want the next value to be less than or equal to this value. And that's not going to be the case because these are in sorted order. They're going to be in increasing order, or of course they might be equal as well. But how could we do this? Well, the first idea would be to swap these two values, right? Because since we already know that they're in sorted order, we know that swapping them will give us what we want. It'll make sure that, let's do the swap here. So we have a 3 here and then a 2 here. What we wanted was this value to be less than or equal to this value. So we achieved what we wanted. But did we mess anything up beforehand? Well, not really, because we wanted this to be less than this value and we wanted this to be greater than this value. Now, it doesn't matter which one of these values we put over here because all of them are greater than this value. So it's pretty simple. Right, we definitely did not mess anything up over here. And then we're going to go to the next value. We know that all of these are greater than all of these anyway. So next, when we say that we want this value to be greater than or equal to this one, we know it's already true. But we know that that's not going to be the case here. We want this value to be less than or equal to this value. That's definitely not going to be the case. But just like we did over here, all we have to do is swap these two values. So once we do that, will be good, right? We wanted this to be less than this one, and then we want this to be greater than this one, and that's already the case. So you can see that this algorithm, when the input array is sorted, is actually very easy. We just start at the second value, look at pairs of values. So first we look at these two pairs, swap them, then we look at these two pairs, swap them, then we look at these two pairs and swap them, but of course there's not two values, so we don't have to swap anything. So the downside of this approach is that while this algorithm kind of runs in linear time, we did have to sort the array beforehand. So the actual runtime is n log n, which is not a bad solution. At least it works. But there is a way to do this in big O of n time without sorting the array. And it's actually more simple than you might think. Let's just try it and see what happens first of all. So first of all, we're going to look at the first two values. We want the second value to be greater than or equal to the previous one. Now, if that's already the case, which it is here, we don't really have to do anything. It makes our lives pretty easy. So these two values are good. But now we want to look at the next two values. What we want is this value to be less than or equal to this one. Again, it's already the case, so we don't have to do anything again. But there is going to come a point at the next value. So now we're going to be looking at these two values. We want this one to be greater than or equal to this one, and it's not the case. So what are we going to do? Well, of course, to make these two values valid, all we have to do is swap them, right? That's the same thing we were doing before. So what happens now if we swap them? We get a 1 here and we get a 2 here. So now this value is greater than this one, greater than or equal to this one. So these two values are good, but did we mess anything up over here? And my argument is that we definitely did not. Let me show you why. We just want to make sure that this value is less than or equal to this one. So how do we know that that's still going to be the case even after we just did the swap? Well, take a look beforehand. We had a 2 and we had a 1. What we wanted was this value to be greater than or equal to this one, but it wasn't. It was less than or equal to 2. So when we swap it over here, since we already knew that 2 was less than 5, which is what we wanted. Now that we have a value here, 1, which is even smaller than 2, we know for sure it's still going to be less than 5. So we definitely didn't mess anything up. And this is the example where we were looking at two values where this one was supposed to be greater than this one, but you'll see that the same thing will hold even in the opposite case where we're looking at a value here that should be less than this one. Okay, so far these four values are alternating, right, in terms of wiggle sort. Now we look at this one, it should be less than this value. It's not. So what do? All we have to do again is just swap the two values. So we put the 2 over here and we put the 6 over here. Now, did that mess anything up? Well, remember did that mess anything up over here? Well, what we wanted was this value to be greater than or equal to this one. Now we replaced it now with a value that was even greater than 2. So for sure, it's going to be greater than or equal to the previous one. So in other words, we didn't mess anything up. And the first 5 values over here are in alternating order. And next, we're going to look at this value. It should be greater than or equal to the previous one, which it is. So we don't have to do a swap in this case. You can see that the exact same algorithm pretty much works out. Even if the array is unsorted. All we have to do is compare values, and if they're not in the correct order, we just have to swap them. And the good thing for us is that there are many valid orders for wiggle sort, and we don't have to create any particular one. Any of them will work, as you can see below. But one thing is algorithmically, how are we going to, take care of the alternating order? The value at index 1 should be greater than the value that came before it. The value at index 2 should be less than the one that came before it. The value at index 3 should be greater than the one that came before it, etc., etc. So what we're finding here is that values at odd indices should be greater than the previous value. Values at even indices should be less than the previous value. So that's how we're going to handle it in code. Time complexity is big O of n, memory complexity is big O of 1. So now let's write it up. Okay, so now let's code it up. A little bit of a different UI because remember we're doing this on Leetcode because it's free on there. So what we're going to do is just iterate through the array. We're going to start at index 1 though because we want to look at the previous value. We know that at index 0 there is no previous value for index 0. So let's go through starting at index 1, and there's going to be two cases here, remember. So first is if we're at an odd index. How do we determine that? We can take the index, mod it by 2, and if it's equal to 1, then we know that we're at an odd index. And remember about odd indexes, that means the value at nums of I should be greater than or equal to the value that came before it, right? That's what should happen. But if it's not the case, so basically we're going to inverse this inequality. If it's not the case, if the opposite is true, if the value is less than the previous value, what does that mean? That means we have to perform a swap. In Python, it's pretty easy to do that. We're going to swap nums of I and nums of I minus 1. Of course, you could use a temporary variable if you can't do this swap as easily as you can in Python. So let's do it like this. We're literally just swapping the two values. We can do it in one line. So that's one case where we have to swap the values. But let me copy and paste this because it's going to be very similar. We know something different happens at even indices. Even indices will be I modded by 2 is equal to 0. We know that at even indices, nums of I should be less than or equal to the value that came before it. But if it's not the case, meaning if nums of I is greater than the value that came before it, again, we are going to do a swap operation just like this one. So that actually pretty much is the entire logic. One thing you might notice though is we can clean this up a little bit because both of these conditionals are executing the exact same line. So what we can do is literally combine them. We can say if the above is true, or if this is true. Let me fit it onto one line though. So just fitting it onto two lines actually. So if either of these conditions is true, let's get rid of this bottom stuff, then we're going to perform a swap. If neither of them are true, we don't need to do a swap. So after all that's done, we can just go ahead and return nums, and let's run it to make sure that it works. And as you can see below, yes it does, and it's pretty efficient. So I really hope that this was helpful. If it was, please like and subscribe. It really supports the channel a lot. Consider checking out my Patreon where you can further support the channel, and hopefully I'll see you pretty soon. Thanks for watching.